What is up guys, welcome back to another video. Today we're going to be doing here a chill session where we actually focus on building the rocket deck that I've actually put aside for quite a while now. So because of that, I wanted to actually incorporate some kind of change to it and try it out in this particular format because I believe it would definitely work out. Now of course, in one of the more recent ban lists, LP did get hit, and as a result we did lose quite a heavy hitter there. So as a result, we are definitely going to have to figure out how to break out of that particular setback and figure out what we can do to excel this deck at the same time allowing it to keep up in this particular format. So as a result, we are going to attempt to try and make this deck work in the format, but not only that, also advance it far beyond other decks out there as well, so that it could actually have more than just a fighting chance, but even a greater way to actually just beat other decks out there. But with that being said, here are the cards that I actually have out right now. There is definitely a lot of cards, as we could see here, a huge bulk of cards that I believe would actually work out in the actual deck itself. So we're just going to be going through all of these cards and seeing which one would be suitable for the actual deck itself. If we have the time, we might be able to fit in a demo test hand just to see if we could actually work something out. And then the following day, I will actually be able to make a deck profile for this properly to show you guys all what I finally have come up with. But I do have a rough idea as to how things would actually go, because obviously this isn't my first time playing Rockets. I've featured it on the channel before, I believe, but that was a long time ago. So with that being said, there's definitely a lot to consider now in this new format. But before I get started, I would like to remind you guys to drop a like, share, comment, and consider subscribing. You don't have to do all these things, but it really does help the channel. So all is appreciated if you do. But with that being said, let's begin. So I think the easy thing would be to go with the monsters first, giving us a good idea of what's actually needed in an actual deck itself, and to set ourselves apart from I guess any of the other builds out there. So let's begin right here. So I do think that Rocket Trace is definitely one of the better cards to start off with here. It's just a really amazing card, and I don't know, I mean, in previous builds I have played 3 of these. I will try to adjust the ratios bit by bit as we go along, because I'm sure we have plenty of options to go through. But over here I do believe that starting off with 3 copies is definitely something I want to test out first, because the consistency for this card is much needed. Next up here we have the other Rockets. Now a lot of people are playing Rockets in a very different way. You could either play Rockets as a pure variant, or you could play it more so as a mixed variant. I'm leaning more so towards a pure variant, but it depends what happens once we actually get to the end of it. So it's just a matter of you considering what's actually good for the deck or not. In this particular case, I'm going to try and test out 2 Magna Rocket Dragons, because I believe that's really more than enough. I'll probably put this aside for now, and that's looking pretty good there. But we already started off with 5 monsters, and yet we have so many monsters left over here. So let's move on here. Silver Rocket, I'd say 1 copy is probably good enough for the deck itself. They more so fall into a more gimmicky kind of thing, where it's not the necessity, but more so just a nice addition to the deck to add to the name of the Rocket monsters. Absorauta, really nice card as well, but being that it's a hard once per turn from previous experience, I might actually drop it down to 2 copies. I think this would actually work out better in this particular circumstance. Next up here we have over here, nice, our Gateway Dragon. So this card is definitely nice, but considering how formats actually are not playing as many Link monsters anymore, it is hard to actually justify playing this particular card in the deck, because you have to consider this. Top decks out there, such as the Virtual World, are playing purely just synchros, no links whatsoever, so this card becomes kind of irrelevant, and all it does is special summon out monsters from your hand. But these days, I believe there's more cards that could easily just summon out your monsters from the hand anyway, So the Gateway Dragon kind of doesn't serve much of a purpose anymore. So I'll put it aside for now, but if the time comes where I actually might need it, I'll put it into the deck. Next up here we have a few of the other rockets. Auto Rokkets, it's not necessarily the card I currently play, so we'll just move that aside. We'll play obviously one of these. It is a hard once per turn anyway, so it makes sense, but definitely playing that in the deck. We have over here Noctivision as well. I'll be testing out 2 copies because just like Absolute Dragon, it is a hard once per turn, but we want to play some sort of consistency in the deck, so I think playing that is actually really good. We have here the Chaos Dragon Lavinia. I think 1 copy is more than enough, and I actually have a card that we'll get to which pairs off quite well with this particular card here, so we'll just see how we go from that. Next up we have here the Dragon Rulers. I think I'll just test this out and see how we go. If things turn out well, that's great. Alright, so here are some that I actually just have one-offs. I always play one-offs of this in a rocket deck anyway, so may as well just test them all out and see how we actually go here. Alright, so we have all of that there. Now for rockets, you're playing combos and you're playing really small card combos. You don't need to play a lot. As a result, cards like the hand traps definitely have their own uses, and I figure I might as well play at least 3 Ash. We'll put Vela aside for now. We also have here Parallel Exceed. It's something I wanted to try out because if you link, you could just extend with this card really well, so I'll give this a go as well. Spiral Dragon always in my deck. These cards are also great as well. We'll try out the Codebreaker engine, which I think might be quite fun in the deck as well. If you guys are wondering, I have considered the Phantom Knight engine, but opted not to go for that because I think the Phantom Knight engine just takes up too much of the deck itself. So because of that, I'm choosing not to play it, but I might try it out in the future. We'll see. We have a few more other cards over here. Prankratops. I'm going to try out the Gamma and see how that actually works out as well, though I think it might be counterintuitive, I don't know. Clearly a lot of cards over here, but it doesn't matter. Even if we exceed the amount, I think we could still work with some stuff here. So let's see. For spells, Quick Launch, it's a staple. It's not even a hard once per turn, and you can just summon out as many as you want, so definitely fantastic. I also want to maximize the use of Allure, so just add it in as well. This is essentially Monster Reborn's great way to extend. We have Squib Draw, allowing us to get rid of 1, draw a card, really nice, or draw 2 cards, very nice, but we'll put these aside. I'm going to try out 2 Boot Sector Launch as well. I believe that would be good as well. Let's see, what else do we have here? Chaos Space. That's what I wanted to try out with the deck itself, with the Chaos Lavinia, but also the Black Dragon and White Dragon Collar Serpent and Wyver Buster. So that would be fantastic as well. Let's see, what else is there? There's Pot of Avarice, maybe, but no. Upstart, only if you're playing a 40 card deck is it worth it. We have Dragon Ravine as well. I'm thinking let's just go for 1 for now, but we might adjust it in the future. Caught by the Grave, definitely. Since it's at 1, we can only play 1. Terraforming, I don't think we need it because we have extra deck monsters that could actually search out our field spells, which is pretty fantastic. Pretty much a Foolish Burial. Just gonna play the variety here, 2 of it, and see how that actually turns out. And then we have over here 1 for 1. We're not playing too many level 1s anyway. It's another Monster Reborn of some sort. You take the opponent's monsters, but it's not really great for testing in this case. Instant Fusion is an option as well, but I'm going to pass up on that. We have another Avarice here. We have Rapid Trigger. I mean, it's not bad, but it's not necessarily crucial either. It might be a good side deck card. As for this, again, good side deck cards because it's Spell Trap Destruction. And the Imperial Order, it's not going to work because this particular deck focuses so much on actual spells. Another Monster Reborn, why not? So as we can see here, pretty big, the amount of cards here, way over 60, but we're just going to test it out anyway and see how that goes. So with that being said, we do have some I guess extra deck monsters, and I'm just going to filter out some extra deck cards just to get an idea of what we could actually play, and that way it would narrow down our options. But in testing, I'm sure we're still going to have to go with a lot more. So I've sorted it out kind of into link monsters, and let's just put that aside there. So all those are link monsters, all of these should be Xyz monsters, and all of these are the other remaining ones. So Furious Dragon, as I said, this would be a side deck card. I would consider playing even the Super Poly engine. And we have Burrowload Savage, obviously that's a staple in Rocket decks, so no doubt that's going to be there. Got to sort out these. I think these would definitely work out. Great options available. We have some Link 4s as well, or rank 4s that we could go into. The Arc Rebellion is a fun engine that I'm thinking might actually work out in this deck, but I guess we'll have to find out. And yeah, that's great. We also have some Link monsters over here, the Nightmares of course, some of the Rocket supports as well that I had lying around. Ahashima seems like a great card as well. We have Code Breakers, Link Karibo. I don't think we have enough level 1, so I might put that aside. Yeah, these could all work as well, which is great. I'd say maybe in terms of Link 4s, you probably don't need to play this. A few other options here, although they're nice, we have plenty of options. Even Anaconda isn't needed. And I'm trying to be a little bit more logical in this point, so because of that, I do want to emphasize on cards that obviously will work and won't work. Sadly, these won't. LP's banned. These might work as well. Romulus is a new addition, so that's great. So I think that's a really good way to start off with here. So yeah, we'll just go with that, and let's actually move on to testing and see how things actually turn out. Alright, so I'm going to just shuffle this up, and yes, you could see that this is a lot of cards, but it's fine. It's just to get a good idea of how the deck actually might work, so let's do it. Alright, so as you can see, this is a bit of a test, and since it's a really big deck, we're obviously going to have a bit of some trouble, but I think we could definitely still try to work with this if possible. So firstly, I think let's just go with the quick launch. That could definitely work out as an opening move. What do we actually want to go for here? I'm thinking let's go for a Magna Rocket in this particular case. I like that. And we could go for, or perhaps instead of Magna Rockets, the Rocket Tracer might not be a bad idea as well. So we go for Rocket Tracer, we'll then activate the Squib Draw, and then we'll also chain Rocket Tracer's effect, which is a quick effect by the way, destroying this, which would allow you to summon out a Rocket, but for the rest of the turn you're only locked into dark monsters, so that is definitely quite the big hit there, or big restriction, but I guess we could try to work out with this because we have Squib Draw also at the ready as well to draw 2 cards, so let's just do that. But since Rocket Tracer went off first, we're going to summon out one of our Rocket monsters. I'll just bring out Magna Rocket and then I'll shuffle my deck. Alright, so now we're going to draw 2 cards here, so 1 and 2. And then this gets destroyed, of course. There we go. Next up, we have over here this nice. So we're going to also go for an Allure of Darkness just to try and get the deck going. But I think what I'll do here is I'll go for Magna Rocket first, which will allow us to go for a Striker Dragon. And that would be over, where is it? Do I even have it? Yep, I have it over here. And Striker Dragon will obviously allow us to add our Boot Sector launch if we have it right there. We're also going to activate a Foolish Burial as well because I believe that would work out. So what are we going to get rid of? Let's get rid of Absolouter, because by going for Absolouter we could then draw into, where is it? Where is Absarauta? Actually, it's kind of odd that it's not here. They're both at the top, okay. So Absarauta, this will allow us to then add our Rocket Synchron. I believe this will work out because we haven't done our normal summon yet, so that's great. And I'm going to shuffle my deck. Alright, so next up we have over here our Law of Darkness. Gonna activate that, draw 2 cards, 1 and 2, nice. We're gonna banish off the metal rockets, and that can go over there. So we have all of these here, which is pretty nice, but there is definitely a lot more to consider beyond this, of course. So what else can I go for here? I'm thinking, let's go with Rocket Synchron, and this will allow us to special summon back out Absarauta. And then from there, keep in mind we also have like Caught by the Grave, so that's a great way to disrupt. What else can we do here? We could special summon out the Galactic Spiral Dragon. Now you have quite a few options. You could actually just use this, change all your monsters to level 8 and then overlay with the Spiral Dragon. And by overlaying, you could go for a dark monster still, so that would work out. And in this case, going for maybe the Din Gyatso is definitely fantastic as an option. You can't actually go for this because it's a light, so the Hope Harbinger, although it's a negate, it's unfortunate we can't do it. But you know what, it's fine. We should be able to make this work somehow. I'm thinking use Striker Dragon. You could actually destroy your Spiral Dragon, and this could allow you to summon out or add back your Rocket Tracer to your hand, because it's technically a tuner monster, and that way you could activate your Boot Sector Launch, summoning out your Rocket Tracer. The issue I find is that, let's say we were to actually go with this. Yeah, let's say we were to go with these first. I wanted to actually go for Romulus, but I just realized that Romulus is actually a wind monster, so that wouldn't actually work out, even though it's an amazing card that allows you to also add your Dragon Ravine. But we'll just go for an alternative. I think we can go for, what are we actually able to go for? I think maybe Ip Masquerina would be the best choice. It's still a dark monster, right? Yeah, it is still a dark monster. And this will allow us to summon out, no, we can't even summon out the Parallel Exceed. So as we can see, there's definitely a few limitations here, because I could take these two, and this would allow me to go into obviously this, and then we just equip our Striker Dragon, giving us a negate. But obviously you could see here there's a limitation as to what I could actually do here. So I realized that with this test hand, we can't go into Rocket Tracer's effect too early, because obviously it locks us out only into dark monsters, and you can see that I definitely had a bit of trouble actually getting into the extra deck. So that is something I have to consider there. The other thing I actually have to consider is also residing in the extra deck, and it should be here somewhere. And the other problem is, ironically, where is it? Pisty. Pisty is ironically the problem in the deck as well, because as soon as you bring it out, or any of the guard dragons, whether it's Argapane or LP, which those two are already banned, you still have Pisty left, and you can't special summon dragon type, well, unless it's dragon type monsters. So definitely quite the setback with the Pisty as well. So if you had Pisty out on the board with the Rocket Tracer and its restriction together, that means you're only restricted to dark dragon types. So you have to definitely be careful of how you actually play this out. But as I said, this is more so just a test, just to see the different flaws with this particular build right now. And I'm going to be doing plenty of testing outside, off screen of course, and hopefully by tomorrow I can actually come up with a build that is definitely more suitable than what this actually produces. But With that being said, I am really open to suggestions, so definitely let me know what you guys actually think about this. Otherwise, I do thank you guys for joining me today in this very long video. I hope you all have a fantastic day. I'll see you all next time.